Hey there, provocateurs. I just wanted to make a video on my latest experience being summoned to jury duty. I've had previous experiences being summoned to jury duty, but my latest one, I just want to make this video on my latest ones. First and foremost, I received the letter or the summons in the mail to my address informing me that I've been summoned for jury duty. And I wasn't happy about it. I've never been happy about being summoned for jury duty, so this was no different. And all that I could think of and all going through my mind is ways of avoiding doing jury duty. I mean, that for the next few weeks, that was the thing that just beat a drum in my head. Ways to get out of this jury duty. Well, unfortunately, I didn't come up with a way that would really work as far as escaping jury duty. So the day came for me to do my civil duty of jury duty. And so the time to meet at the local criminal courthouse was 9 a.m. local time for the so I arrived there at about 8:55 a.m. That was 5 minutes earlier than the time given. Some positive things about it is that they did have abundance of free parking where we was able to park our vehicles and stuff like that. So that was very great. And also the security checkpoint, even though it was a large amount of us coming in, large amount of people all throughout the criminal courts building at that time of the morning, the security checkpoint went fairly good. It went fairly quick and fairly efficient as that. So them two positives made me feel kind of good about the whole process. Then we went up to the third floor, traveled to the third floor where the courtroom was that we were to be start our journey on this jury duty journey. And so we checked in. I checked in, and I was given a number. My number was 73. I was given it on this little piece of paper. The clerk read it out, 0073. And she told me that I could take a seat in the waiting area where it was at least about 125 to 150 of us in this waiting area. And from 9 a.m. to approximately 11 a.m., we waited there. Nobody said nothing. Nobody really did nothing. We just sat there. Some played with their phones. Some played with pens. Some of them slept. I mean, we looked like we were in high school detention, if you ask me. All of us looked like, it felt like a high school detention for just almost 2 hours. And then one of the assistant state attorneys, he came out to really give us an overview of what's going on here, and he informed us that we were potential jurors for a grand jury and not a regular jury. And he discerned the difference between the two. As he said, to sum up his words, a jury is mainly a jury that is convened for one criminal case. And they basically, once they hear all the evidence and everybody hear all the witnesses, they deliberate on getting a unanimous decision one way or the other for guilt or not guilty. Or sometimes they can't come up with that unanimous decision one way or the other, they'll come out with a hung jury. But once that one case that they're on, once that's been decided by them, they are dismissed. But he was telling us that we were potential jurors of a grand jury. And he said grand jury is a little different. Grand jury, if you're selected to be a grand juror, it ain't only one trial you're going to do. You may do multiple trials, a lot of trials over a length of time. And he said, we as grand jurors will not select guilt or innocence. We will hear the evidence most of the evidence that's for for the reasonings of should they move forward or not. So that's the difference. We're not really deciding guilt or innocence. We're just deciding if there's enough evidence to move forward to an actual jury trial. So he's basically explaining that. So we would go through, if we selected, we would go through multiple trials. Basically, that's what he was laying out. Over a length of time, meaning about 2 months, basically. So this being December, he was basically saying that we will be grand jurors until about February. We won't be released until February. Basically that's what he was saying. But when all the odds and said, oh man, I don't want to be out that long, and all that was going on, he said, hold on a minute. It ain't going to be all 5 days of each week. It may be 2 to 3 days each week up until February. Like that was any better. I'm still thinking in my heart, I'm thinking like, oh, I don't want to be picked. I didn't want to be picked when I got the initial summons. I definitely don't want to be picked now. I just hope I'm not picked as one of these grand jurors. This is all I can think in my mind. And the assistant state's attorney also informed us they would be picking or selecting out of the 125 to 150 people that was in that waiting area. It's going to pick roughly about 16 to 25 people, for be part of the grand jury. Then he also went into they're going to interview him and some of his fellow assistant state's attorneys will be giving us each and every one of us a little brief interview. And he had us line up against the wall, to line up for, our brief interview. Now, my question was on that, I'm thinking in my mind, why would you have us line up? You having us stand up out of our seats. We're in nice, comfortable chairs, stand up out of our seats to line up against a wall when you gave out these numbers. Why didn't they just come and call numbers? Why did they do it that way? Why people were sitting, they could do numbers? I think that would have been a little bit more efficient, but what do I know? But anyway, we go through the process of each and every one getting their little interview. Now, when the assistant state's attorney called me for the interview, she asked me questions. She was very nice, first of all. When it got to me, because I was about the 100th person. Once we lined up, I was about the 120th person on, because, when they told me to line up, people would just, how people get. People were jumping up and lining up real quick, getting in there, and it was like, oh. So I was about the 120th person to get interviewed. But when I did get interviewed, the lady was pretty nice. She was pretty good and pretty, this. And she just asked, what I did for work. Have I ever had any run-ins with the law? Stuff like that. Am I planning any vacations soon? Well, within that period that if I was selected for the grand jury, that it would interrupt that process almost. And no to that. What else did she ask? She just asked a couple of questions like that. They're trying to get, select, a jury pool, grand jury pool out of all of us. So, yeah, she was pretty nice. So, like I said, my interview lasted about approximately 5 minutes. Then, of course, I was instructed to go back to the waiting area, which I did. So, I had to wait after I got interviewed, it was about 15 to 20 minutes after I got interviewed, before they interviewed each and every person that was in that waiting room. So then when they interviewed each and every person in that waiting room, the assistant state's attorney came out again. He told us give them a few minutes while they basically go over all the prospective grand jurors and pick 16 to 25 as he's mentioned earlier. So there we are. We're waiting in that waiting area for another, I would say another 30 minutes. And then since the state's attorney comes out and he said, well, I'm finna name the winners, quote unquote winners. And that would have been the grand jury that they picked. And he started naming off the people and my heart was beating because I was like, oh, I hope he don't call me. I just hope he doesn't call me. I don't want him to call me. I don't want to be on this grand jury. No hate, no disrespect, but I just don't want to be on this grand jury. I could do better things with my time to be on this grand jury. But yeah, it was a couple of times, close calls. I thought he was coming to my name, Joe. No, and then he went somewhere else and didn't call my name. I was like, oh, yeah, I was relieved like that and the pressure. Just don't want to be on this grand jury. Just did. Then he reached his final name and my name wasn't called, and I exhaled real big. Big exhale from me. Some of the other people that was in the room started clapping and applauding. I guess they was applauding because they wasn't picked. It wasn't a congratulatory thing to the people that was picked. I think it was more so they was clapping because they were not picked. But yeah, but some people want to be on jury, so I hope that the people that they did pick were people that want to be on the jury or grand jury. And I know others, like other people that may be like me, don't want to be part of a jury or a grand jury. So I was cool with not being picked. Like I said, it was a big exhale off me. So then eventually they took the people that were picked as grand jurors. They took them on, I guess, to give them a little orientation or a little more further, prepare them a little bit more for what they, for them being a grand juror. And then our pay, because they pay you for going down there and doing grand jury, doing your service, your jury service, your jury duty service. So they had us line up, and they basically gave us our check for the day, and it was $35 they paid us. Now, when we were sent out and dismissed by the court, it was like 1 p.m. local time. So we started at 9 a.m. We dismissed about 1 p.m. local time. So that's about 4 hours. So for our 4 hours of our time, they gave us $35 checks. Now $35, you look at it and say, wow, this is under minimum wage of the state that we're having jury duty in Illinois. We're in Illinois, and the minimum wage in Illinois right now is $13 an hour. So with our $35, we got from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. local time, 4 hours of our time, we got a $35 check. So I'm like, wow. So that's somewhere like $8 and some change for each hour. That's basically what we got paid. So we got paid about $4 plus less than the minimum wage in the state that we're doing jury duty in. So that kind of rubbed me a little bit of the wrong way. But then I was thinking like, wow, but we are getting paid more than the federal minimum wage. So it's like, so it's like, wow. So we're somewhere in the middle. But anyway, I was just happy. I wasn't even tripping on the amount that we was paid or nothing like that. The amount that I was paid, I wasn't tripping on that. I was just happy to be dismissed and not be on this grand jury. And I know there's others that I would like to hear about your experience with jury duty that's out there. If you have any that you would like to share in the comments below. But like I said, I hope, but I know that I may be summoned to other excuse me. I know I may be summoned for jury duty upcoming, but I just I just hope, man, jury duty. Wow, it's just not my favorite to be part of a jury. I don't that ain't something that I really want to do. That ain't something that I want to do. But like I said, you all open to share your experiences, your jury duty experiences. Have any of you ever been on an actual jury and share some of the experiences on that jury? You can share that in the comments below. But with that, please feel free to like, share, and comment on this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. After subscribing, please click on that little notification bell in order to be notified of any new uploads from the channel. With that, I am out on this video. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace. One love. Stay safe.